my friends! As it's tradition, we're going to tell you which 20 heroes are the best to rank up to mythical glory or even immortal in Season 30 in SoloQ. We give you a quick rundown of the hero's strengths and weaknesses, and also a recommended build, emblem and spell. There are 3 crucial factors that we took into account while making this list. First, how often can you use these heroes? Situational heroes or heroes with too many counters are way worse than heroes who don't really need to care which allies and enemies they have. Secondly, how good are these heroes in SoloQ? Heroes who can solo carry are way better than team-dependent heroes. And flexible heroes who can fill multiple roles are also preferred. And thirdly, how likely are negative adjustments throughout the next season? As you want to have a reliable main who can perform well throughout the whole season. We excluded Valier from the list as he's getting banned way too often and he doesn't receive a nerf yet. By the way, I need to give Moonton props for once. They actually managed to create a meta with only 1 broken hero instead of the usual 4 to 5. Now let's start with hero number 1. The Pyromaniac Cyborg. Xborg was already popular in the last season for a good reason. His late game potential is insane, which is really important in SoloQ, as you can turn around even bad matches. He can be a jungler and XP laner, so you should be able to pick him in most matches, and he has good damage with extremely good sustain once you get immortality. Because you basically get 4 lives, which makes you extremely doable. Not immortal though if you meet a flicker trick Hanabi. In the early game he doesn't have the strongest presence though, as he's a hero for the late game. But for a stupid Jin who shouldn't go to the XP lane anyway, it's enough. The core items you should always get are War Axe, as you can easily get the stacks, Immortality to get 4 life, and Ice Cream Wand for the slows. Here you can see the recommended boots, situational items, emblems with possible talents, and spells. I will not go through each of them because regular viewers already know what each of them do. And if you don't know it yet, check out the item guides that are linked in the end card. Also subscribe, as we will do another full rundown of item guides, especially for new players. Number 2. We will talk about Bruno. No. Excuse my terrible singing voice. Bruno really benefited from the latest item adjustments, as he can deal extremely high damage with only 1 crit item. Being strong in the early game as a marksman while also bowling around like a pro in the late game is the reason he is so strong. He has enough survivor skills with his dash, lifesteal and knockback ult, and he is good at pushing, which is really one of the most crucial factors when playing SoloQ. Since he is a marksman though, he is pretty weak against burst heroes. And if you're not careful with your dash, you can find yourself in a pretty bad spot very easily. He's mainly a gold laner, but you can also take him to the jungle where he performs okay. His core items are the crit items Harsh Claws and Berserker's Fury, and as emblem you need to use the Assassin emblem and not the Marksman emblem. Because the Marksman emblem is trash and you should never use it. Watch our video where we explained why the Marksman and also the Mage emblem are completely useless right now. Here's the rest for you, and let's move on to hero number 3. Bangas. Kadida is the best burst mage in the game. Let me just name a couple of things that she offers. CC immunity, damage reduction, a long AoE knockup, insane AoE burst, regen, zoning, and the list goes on. She is one of the few heroes who can burst down multiple enemies with 1 ambush, and unlike others like 𝐉𝐨, she can actually be used as a damage roamer. Her only weaknesses are her pushing ability, which means you can collect 20 kills and still lose because your allies refuse to push. And her wave clear is not the best. Her core items as a burst mage are obviously Clock of Destiny, Lightning Truncheon, and Genius Ward. Here I also need to remind you to use the Assassin emblem, as the Mage emblem is trash. Here's the rest, so let's move on to hero number 4. Our Airbus A380. I need to make a confession here. I never really used her, as she was always more or less useless in SoloQ. One of my scriptwriters convinced me to give her a try and holy shit. I mean, not like holy shit. Holy shit! Just look at these stats from the first classic match I played with her. Yes, we lost, but considering I played her for the first time since, I think more than a half year. And our Granger was so smart that he was on level 2 after 1.5 minutes. It just shows you everything you need to know. She really is an assassin now, so abuse her before she's on the top of the ban list. You can one-shot any squishy or even two like I did here with a new ult. It is almost impossible to kill her unless you do some random BS like I did here to test her limits. And she still have her insane support skill where you can save countless allies from their own death, or even make awesome engages with a very smart ally. The only weakness she has is her push and clear ability, and the fact that she suffers from the assassin syndrome. She's OP until the moment where the enemy starts to hide in the base. She can be used as a roamer of course, but also as a mid laner, which is another bonus. As core items you have the Genius and Glowing Wand combo, and to that you should build another magic damage item and 2 defense items that fits the enemy. Here's the rest, so let's move on to hero number 5.
Xing.
No, it's not Benedetta, although she's also pretty strong. We talk about Lancelot, who is still one of the best SoloQ heroes after you mastered him. He's mobile AF with multiple dashes. He can become invincible for a short moment to dodge many deadly attacks. He has high damage. By the way, you shouldn't use tanks a lot in SoloQ as you become too team dependent. And he can split push and escape easily if the enemy tries to get his nuts. The only problem he has is that he is very hard to learn, especially for certified slow hands like me. I mean, I'm 30, come on. He doesn't have any strong CC abilities on his own as well, so you often have to wait until your enemy skills are on cooldown, and he also suffers from the assassin syndrome. His core items are Blade of the Heptases and Hunter Strike. Always get Fury Hammer while building those items for the early game penetration, by the way. Here is the rest, so let's move on to hero number 6, our robot waifu. I would make the case that Edith is the best XP laner right now. I mean, she can set up her own enemies as a tank and then has the damage output of a marksman. Even low rank enemies know to get the F out of there if Edith pops her ult, and this alone tells you how strong she is. She can also push pretty well in her ult form and survive against any enemy on the lane in tank form. You only need to be careful when having burst enemies with stuns, as they can easily kill you in your old form where your defense is very low. Also, mobile enemies can easily escape you when you pop your ult too early. The other problem is that it's very likely that she receives a nerf throughout the season. She's also a flexible pick, as she can be a roamer or even a gold laner if your allies are too dumb to pick a marksman. As she is a tanky hero, there is no fixed build, as defensive items need to be built according to the enemy. You should build 2 magic damage items, which are Feather of Heaven and Stallium Scythe, and as defense item you're most likely going to build Dominance Ice Cream, Immortality and Athena or Radiant Armor. You could also go for Oracle for more regen while using your ult. So let's move on to hero number 7, my waifu.
FBI, open up!
No, I was joking. Well, about the waifu part, not that she's again on the list. Let me quickly show you my SoloQ win rate with her before she got her insane buff. Any more question why she's one of the best SoloQ heroes? Yes, I know you have them, as the official stats doesn't show all of this yet, so she's the only hero in the entire game who can wipe out 5 enemies while being invincible. Therefore, she's one of the best split push heroes, as even 2 enemies can stop her. She still has her free Purify, which is just an insane ability, and the mobility buff she got is just insane. I mean, she can outrun almost any enemy again, including Hanzo and Zilong in old form. Before the mobility nerf, she was still OP, and for some reason Moonton decided to revert exactly this. Oh, okay, now I get why they did that. Yes, she still have her weaknesses, of course. If you fail to snowball, you're as useless as a hedgehog in the factory. It's pretty hard to activate your ult if the enemy has no slow front laners, especially in the late game. And burst heroes, especially mages, can easily wipe the floor with you when you're not careful. Okay, almost all marksmen have this problem, but anyway, still. Her ability to turn around whole games with just one ult makes me believe you will enjoy her a lot in your SoloQ matches. Again,
Let me show you this. Don't you want to have this one, right? Yes, you want it.
her core items are Corrosion Scythe and Demon Hunter Sword, and here's the rest. Yes, I used the Assassin emblem and not the shitty Marksman emblem. If you wanna stack up your diamonds before this kit is released, make sure to re-download Mobile Legends with Uptide to get up to 20% more diamonds for your money. Yes, I mean it seriously, you get just way more diamonds by using this instead of the stupid Google Play. The full tutorial is in the pinned comment down below. Next we have hero number 8, Little Rabbit Ragu. Chang'e is one of the best pokers out there, and she's one of the only mages who can actually push and invade the enemy's jungle on her own. It literally takes 2 seconds and the enemy's blue buff is your blue buff. She has good mobility because of her movement speed boost, though she has no dash, so be careful when roaming around. As you have long range skills, you don't need to get yourself into danger anyway, because you can bully the enemy from a far distance. The problem she is having is that she don't have any good CC effects, and the nerf on Ice Cream Wand certainly didn't help her in that regard. She is also weak against poking enemies who can remove her shield and therefore her enhanced skills. Her core items are the triple wand combo, which we talked about in our broken build video. So Genius, Glowing and Ice Cream Wand. But if you like some cooldown reduction, you could add Enchanted Talisman as first item before you build that. Here's the rest, and before I forget it, if there is a brain dead ally who picked a second mage, take her to the XP or the gold lane, as she can perform alright on both lanes. Next we have hero number 9, our kill-seeking Maniac. Marius is an awesome hero to main because once you've mastered him, you can repeat the same game over and over again. Be super aggressive in the early game so you can start to snowball, and then just run around like a maniac collecting a bunch of kills and objectives. A fat Marius is almost impossible to stop on your own, as he has CC immunity, extreme burst from his ult that can reset itself, and he can get an insane amount of movement and attack speed. If you've listened closely though, you notice the problem he's having. On your own you can't stop him. As a team, you surely can. Although he's not an assassin, he also suffers from the assassin syndrome, as he heavily falls off in the late game ganks. He also becomes less scary the longer the game lasts where the field is leveled, as his snowball advantage is gone by this point. Also, if you're not aggressive in the early game, you will be useless throughout the whole match. His core items are Hunter Strike and Blade of Despair. Again, remember to get Fury Hammer first when building Hunter Strike. Here's the rest. Use Festival of Blood, by the way, if you're forced to go to the XP lane. Next we have hero number 10. Our Thank you, waifu. Lolita just got a huge revamp that made her even better than before. Her shield now hard counters many heroes as she reflects their projectiles. So heroes like 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐻, 𝐺𝑢sheng, Chang'e, Cyclops and almost all marksmen are useless against her. She also still has the longest stun in the entire game with a huge AoE, which means one well-set ult can win you the game. The one disadvantage she has though is... well, she's a tank. If your allies refuse to do their job, it's almost impossible to carry them. You can easily get a win rate of 60% or higher with her, but winning any of those hopeless matches will be much harder with her than with other heroes. As she is the tank, there are no fixed builds of course, but here you have the emblem, talents and spell. Next we have hero number 11, our big black daddy. Yuzong just got another buff that makes him even stronger than before. He has extremely good sustainability thanks to his regen paired with his high damage. He can easily reach the backline unlike most other heroes with the CC immunity in dragon form, which also lets him survive almost any ambush as he can simply fly away. Once your ult is on cooldown though, he is weak against stuns, as his sustainability comes mostly from his regen. And his long AF cooldowns can often bite you in your big black butt. His core items are the Hunter Strike and War Axe combo, paired with defensive items like Dominance Ice Cream. Depending on how aggressive you want to be, you can build up to 4 attack items. Usually I would recommend 2 or max 3 though. Here's the rest and we move on to our hero number 12, the Walking Headache. Brody is by far the best early game marksman. If you can't dominate your enemy on the lane with him, you're certainly doing something wrong. He can easily poke the enemy's HP down and finish them off at 30% with his ult. So unless you're being ganked non-stop without support, I don't see how you can lose your lane. He also has good survival skills when being ganked with his second skill and movement speed boost. He's a bit weak though in the late game, as he has to get close to the enemies, which is never a good idea as a marksman. But luckily you can build a few defensive items and still deal enough damage. His pushing ability is also pretty good. Late game ganks can be hard though without proper sets from your allies. If you didn't know it yet, a strong early game hero is usually weak in the late game, and the same goes the other way around. And in the case a hero is strong at any time of the game, you can bet your ass that they are part of the ban list. His core items are the flat pen combo items Blade of the Heptaseas and Hunter Strike, and here's the rest of his build. Next we have hero number 13, the best hooker of the game. Franco is probably the only tank who can dominate the enemy team from start to end, when you've put in the hours to master his hook, of course. A perfect hook basically means one dead enemy if you're doing it right, which means you can theoretically collect multiple kills per minute as a tank. You need to hook the right enemies, of course, and hook them to a place where your allies can eat them up. But as I just said, you need to put in the hours to master his hook. Apart from that, he also has his instant suppression skill that counters every hero in the game. This is especially useful in games where you have that one OP enemy. Now, all of those insane abilities don't mean that he is broken, as he is pretty bad at the job he's actually supposed to do, tanking damage. He is nothing more than a fat meat sack when you put him on the front line, especially when your allies decide it's time to fight for the blue buff. Also, when your allies decide to just run around like headless chickens, it becomes incredibly hard to perform good hooks as, well, they are never in the position to capitalize from your hooks. He has no fixed build except his rapid boots. So let's move on to hero number 14, our Olympic gold medalist. This one might be another controversial pick as he's generally not one of the top 20 heroes. So the biggest reason why I included him was his split push potential and backdoor ability. You can basically shred the enemy's base away in 5 seconds with the Trinity build, which is just insane. That obviously goes for many backdoor heroes like Argus-san or Zilong, who can actually work very well in lower ranks. Moscov is the only hero though who's also good in higher ranks. He has huge snowball potential thanks to his insane wave clear, he has a huge stun which can be used to ambush enemies, and he has a dash and knock up to survive ganks. His biggest problem is really that he's almost stationary in ganks, which means enemies can easily escape him or even take him down. The error margin is really thin with him, which is why he's not as good as others. As his core items, you should use the Trinity build if you want to backdoor, but if the enemy is full of squishies, you need to go for a crit build. So Windtalker, Heart's Claws, and Berserker's Fury. Here is the rest, and hero number 15, the Midget Leprechaun. Harley is the best hero if you want to collect kills. Well, except for Saber maybe. After you've become level 4, all squishies will scream in fear whenever you pop up next to them. Similar to Martyrs, this requires that you play aggressive, of course. So if you have 1 kill after 5 minutes, you're not doing your job. The thing is that he is super weak in the late game, as it's so hard to kill any enemy in a 5v5 gang. You can just slice them to pieces like Saber. You need to wait until the fire ring ends their life. And with the rise of the healing supports, this is even a bigger problem now. So in the first 10 minutes of the game you have to build up your advantage and take down as many objectives as you can. Luckily Harley is also pretty good at pushing, which sets him apart from most other mages. And he can be used as a jungler, mid laner, or even as a damage roamer, which gives you a lot of flexibility. His core items are Genius and Glowing Wand, paired with Feather of Heaven for the push. Here is the rest, and yes again, use the Assassin emblem. Next is hero number 16, Hanabi! Okay, chill everyone, chill. Let me explain. I said it in our low rank tier already, and I will repeat it again. Hanabi is a good hero now, and you need to accept it. Her Hanabi days are officially over. She offers you multiple CC immunities paired with high damage, annoying pokes especially in the laning phase, multiple CC skills with slow and immobilization. So what really do you want to have more for a marksman? Okay, a dash skill would be maybe nice, but you're immune to CC, so you don't really need that. Burst heroes can of course counter her like any other marksman, and she's not as good as Brody in the laning phase, but be real here. Do you enjoy laning against Hanabi? I really don't like it unless I have my dear Brody. Her past really bites her in the butt as she was too long the worst marksman of the game, but the reality is she is better than many other marksmen right now, even Clint or Beatrix. Her core items are the Trinity build. Here's the rest, and I'm looking forward to the 200 comments how wrong I am and how trash Hudderfeed is. I really am. That's engagement. Engagement is good on YouTube. Next we have hero number 70. Bonk Daddy. When it comes to laning itself, there is no better hero than Terizla. If you play him smart, of course. You can bonk your counterpart easily away with your insane damage, and you don't even need many damage items to keep it throughout the whole match. Bloodlust Axe is enough to deal an insane amount of damage, while regenning also a lot of your HP. This means you are very tanky because you can build 4 defensive items, while you can also regen your HP. Walking and immobile heroes are just food for him, while mobile heroes are a problem for him. This insane damage and tankiness comes with a price, of course. He often feels like a sloth and can catch his enemies. This is even worse when the enemies have many slow effects. He is also a very slow pusher, although at least you can't be stopped by a single enemy. In ganks you are also pretty good, as you offer a nice engage with your ult. And you have your AoE bonks, of course, to bonk the enemy to death. As mentioned, his core item is Bloodlust Axe, and the tank items are obviously depending on the enemy. Here is the rest, and hero number 18. The Ball Slapper. Kufra is the best all-round tank in the game, as he can do basically everything. He can engage, stun the whole enemy team, counter dashing rats, deal damage, zone out the enemies, give vision, and so on and so on. There is a reason he is always picked in any pro tournament. The problem is, of course, he is a tank in SoloQ. If it goes right, it goes very right. If you have headless chickens, well, I guess you know what that means. No fixed build for him because he's a tank, so you only get the emblem with talents and the spell. Next is hero number 19, our dear Tin Can. Alpha is another strong early game jungler. Become level 4 and let's go hunting for kills. His skills allows him to regen a lot of his HP while taking out squishies with one simple combo. He can also still have an impact in the late game unless so many other junglers, as his engage can easily set up multiple enemies for yourself and for your allies. There is a very fine error margin though. If you miss your ult, you're a sitting duck in the enemy's territory and you need to get the F out of there. He is also very weak against stuns as he is not so tanky, and he has no CC immunity like Martyrs. You can also take him to the XP lane if needed. His core items are Hunter Strike and War Axe. Here's the list and the last hero for today, our Tiger Lady. Aerith will benefit the most from the crit item adjustments. She has extreme damage potential and can wipe out 5 enemies on their own if you do it right. So engage after they fired out their skills, not before. She has a very good mobility as you can run around while attacking, and she is really hard to kill as you can't pin her down that easily. Instant burst and stuns are of course a problem for her. She is also not the best in the laning phase, but you can get your farm with your first and second skill. Don't expect though that you will dominate any enemy unless their name is Claude or Mia. Her core items are Hearth's Claws, Windtalker, the Great Dragon Spear, and Berserker's Fury. There are not many situational items left, but still here's the rest, and yes, even she should never use the marksman emblem. As promised, here's the link to the video where we explain why, and also our item combo video that every ML player should see at least once. Now a huge shout out to our MLG family members, especially the Mythical Glory members like the Birch Tree and Izzy. See you over there!